Hi, Roka. Good morning.
Good morning. How are
How
you?
good, good, and you?
Fine?
Good. How was your weekend?
Well, as normal, nothing relevant happened.
Okay.
Only that I need to. I have problems with my internet and
Mm-hmm.
some things like this. And well, one highlight is the yesterday was raining,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and this was so good.
Yes, definitely. It was better for the weather. I mean,
Yes, and this will help to with the temperature for
yes,
Nuevo León.
a lot. I think it's going to continue raining, but I'm not sure. Like if like these days or something. But I think it's gonna continue raining.
Well, uh, I don't have problem with this.
Yeah, no, me neither. The only bad part when it rains sometimes it's the internet connection. The internet
Yes.
connection.
Hmm.
Especially that because we're all doing home office and everybody's in the house. That's the only
Yes.
bad situation. But uh, besides that, all the rest is good.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Everyone wants to use the internet
Hmm.
currently.
Yeah.
Good morning, teacher.
Good. Good morning, Angela. How are you?
I'm fine. And you?
Fine, fine. Thank you. How was your weekend?
With a lot of homework.
Are you still at school?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Why?
Now I'm studying
Where are you studying
marketing
marketing? And in what university?
and in Mederos.
Okay.
Yes, I finished the next week.
Ah, okay.
Yes,
Do you take summer classes or something like this?
yes. It's like um, summers.
Mm-hmm. Summer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Hi, Javier. Good morning.
Hi, teacher.
Hi, how are you?
Um, I am sick.
You're sick.
Oh no.
What happened? What are you sick of?
I have a headache and I felt dizzy.
Okay. So you have a headache.
Yes.
A headache, okay, and you feel dizzy. Are you going to come down with a flu or something like that, or what do you think? Or is it like migraine, like migraña?
Migraña no, because um, these I don't know how do you say
Like symptoms?
yes, I felt sometimes twice a week
Okay.
is normal, but I don't know what is the reason.
Maybe it's migraine. I mean, it could be because of, well, I don't know if you are stressed, but sometimes if we are under a lot of stress, nor like headaches or migraines, I guess sometimes we feel them. As long
Mm,
as it's not like something like the flu or that you are having temperature or fever, actually,
no, it's
then that's okay.
only a headache.
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 Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. So, well, I guess we can start, and then whoever joins us, they'll catch up. So, what we're going to do today, we're going to focus today and Wednesday to practice grammar, which is the last part that we are missing from this unit. And
Yes.
what we're going to do is first we are going to identify relative clauses. We are going to practice some sentences using these relative clauses and complete communicative activities using relative clauses. And we're gonna try to finish around 11:20 as well. And we're gonna do this one first, just to kind of connect the topics. Do you have your book or not yet?
No yet.
Yes, I have it.
Okay, so you have it. All right. So, well, anyways, the people who don't have the book, you can check the PowerPoint presentation in here. And the ones who have the book, you can go to page 29. In this page,
Yes.
we have this picture. It says media and the mind. I want you to take a moment and read these two boxes, the positive and the negative content. Okay? When you finish, let me know. Ready?
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning. Now, we're gonna do this. I was actually going to, let's see. I wanted the activity was for you to go to breakout rooms, but let's see. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess the breakout room will be here. Like I agree that we can all do this together in the same session. So what I want you to tell me is your opinion. I want you to give me your opinion about what they say here related to negative content and what it says about positive content. Do you agree? Yes or no? And tell me why. Who wants to be first? Everybody's going to participate and share something, but who would like to start? Victims or volunteers? All right. Well, I guess we can start with, let's see. Roque, you were the first one today. So can you share your opinion with us about this?
OMG. Yes. Um, okay, well, uh, I you can remember the question because I just read it.
Yeah, don't
Do
worry.
I need sense?
Uh, so basically, it's if you agree or if you disagree and why.
Well, I can say that well these have a big and a strong font requirement because I guess that is logic in certain facts. Because if you learn something, you learn by the example. Is it your father or your parents teach you something to do? Yeah, your parents first do something to show you how to do it. So I guess that the negative content had a become. I am agree with the negative content.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the positive content because I I didn't and I don't check my blood pressure while I am seeing a movie or TV show.
Uh-huh.
But yes, but also it's not a enough argument to
Mm-hmm.
don't see violent content. I mean, the last movie that I watched was Joker, and
Mm-hmm.
you can see it, and mm, it's not enough to be a, a psychopath. How can
Mm-hmm.
I say it? You don't transform in a psychopath or something like that and start to make a controversy in in the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Okay.
mean.
Mm-hmm.
So depends of the measure of the people or the audience.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. So you're going to choose the next person who is going to share his or her opinion.
Yes, the next victim.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the next one is Javier.
All right, Javier. So give us your opinion. Do you agree?
I don't think that. Yeah. Um, yes, I think that both are correct, negative and positive. If you see something, it will have an influence for you in your life. You, if you see negative, you can be a bad person. Movies or television are an example that many want to follow. I think the same that I say. If you see something positive, you can be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think this is the same like video games. Um, some experts in video games say about if you play bad video games, you may be like that. For example, 2 months ago in United States, a guy killed too many students, and they say that he played a video game, but I don't remember the name.
Was it like the one that it said natural selection?
Yes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh no, wait. I
I
think that
think
was here in Mexico, no?
I
No,
don't know.
I'm confusing because in the United States they have done a lot of those things.
Yes, I don't know, but
Well, I am mad with him because it's not an argument to do what he did.
Okay. Yes. Um. But yeah, I mean, in a way, that's also. Mm, I guess in a way it's true what he's mentioning about the video games, and I guess that it's also related to the media. Uh, because I don't remember if it was here in Mexico, the one that said natural selection, or selección natural in Spanish. I don't remember if that was it. And I think they were saying that he was following a video game that is called natural selection, but some people said that he was wearing the same clothes as the people who as the two kids that killed people in the United States like in 1999 or something like that. But I agree with what you mentioned, that like these things affect your mind in a way. Okay. Now, Javier, choose the other person you want, him or her. Well, actually, only I don't know. Either is yes. Choose the
Uh,
other person who you want to listen to his or her opinion.
Eder.
Okay,
Yeah,
Eder.
good morning.
Morning.
I think both cases are correct, but it depends the person. For example, Mexico, there are culture about movies, narcos.
Okay, yes.
It's not good for the teenagers, I think, because they want life easy,
Mm-hmm.
and and it is necessary to watch movies, the comedy for
Mm-hmm.
the body, for you live very when you are loading
Mm-hmm.
in your brain there are many situations like oxytocin, or I don't remember what is the name, the
Endorphins.
endorphin, yes.
Uh-huh.
um mm, but without excess,
Okay.
just one movie, and
Okay.
need to split and need to sleep after that.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, either choose one of the girls. We have Angela, Sandra, and Annie here. But Annie just arrived, so maybe for now, Angela or Sandra.
Okay, Sandra.
All right, Sandra. So in here, the negative and the positive content. Do you agree with what it says? Yes or no, and why?
Well, yes, I agree with that because, for example, there is a phrase that says that you are the thing that you read, and I think that talking about watching is the same because it's more explicit. And talking about the negative content, I think that is true because sometimes you tend to adopt stereotypes of the way that the people thinks or acts in that kind of movies, talking about violence or things like that.
Mhm.
And I think that is not nice to watch that kind of movie style because at some point it seems that a violent environment become being common in your life, so that's not good. And talking about the positive content, yes, I think that it's correct to the affirmation because, for example, when you're watching things like documentals or things like that, you start being more conscious about the situation that is happening in the world, and you are trying to be more protective or more, I don't know how to say, like beneficioso.
Beneficial. Like it's
Okay.
like when something is beneficial for you.
No, when you are trying to be beneficious with the environment.
Okay, so when you want to take advantage.
Yeah, and you are more conscious with the things that you do or the decisions that you take.
Okay, yeah. All right, so yes, I also agree with that. And it's true. I mean, so it's for example what Eder was mentioning about the culture here in Mexico. Normally now we are normalizing the the TV shows or the movies that are related to like uh, narco traffics and like drugs and stuff. And
Mhm.
that's what kids want to be like. Now they are not like, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be uh, I don't know, a teacher. Now I want to be now like the one that it's in the show Narcos, for example. And that's not good. And that's what happens like when they have the opportunity, because if we are honest, sometimes that's what they have for them to take for them to take advantage of, and they start doing bad things,
Yes, that's
right?
right.
So well, I guess we're gonna continue with you, Angela, and then we end with Annie, and then we continue with the next part. So
Yes.
Angela, what do you think? Do you agree, yes or no, and why with these two aspects?
In my case, I agree with this because write that. Uh, maybe if the children watch a lot of violence in future, is obviously they can present behavior aggressive.
Mhm.
But if they watch positive movies or programs, or they help themselves,
Mhm.
I think it depends on the parents and what they allow them to see.
Mhm.
They
Yes,
are the principal responsible. I think.
yes,
In,
I also agree with you on that, and that's actually a very important point. If you let them, as a parent, you should know what are the restrictions
yes,
your kids should have. Very good.
yes.
And well, we're gonna finish with you. So, what do
Yeah.
you think? Do you agree or disagree, and why?
I agree with both because movies can be positive and negative in some way. And I think, yeah, nowadays, if a movie doesn't have scenes with violence, it's not good for the audience. I think that's bad because nowadays the kids are not polite, the kids are not happy, the kids are not educated in a good way.
Hmm.
And I think that's a big because of the movies. But I think too that movies can give us a happy time.
Hmm.
Like Eder says, sometimes when we saw a movie or when we think about the lesson that gave us,
Uh-huh.
we release endorphins
Yes.
and that makes us happy.
Hmm.
So I think it can be both, yes. And I'm agree with both texts. So it can be positive and can be negative.
Okay. Yes. Very good. Interesting points of view, like from all of you, because it's true. I mean, um, for example, let me. I don't remember the name of this actor. He was married to the one. To one of the well with Eugenio Derbez daughter, Mauricio Ockman. I think that's his name. He was I don't remember if he was doing a movie or if he was in a TV show related to drug uh, to drugs or to narcos. I don't remember. And he stopped or he quit the show because he mentioned that kids, like little kids, they were like getting in touch with him through Instagram or Twitter or something like that. And he said that they
Yeah.
were saying that they wanted to be like him from the show, but he was
Yeah.
a drug lord, and I mean he was basically killing people and selling drugs, and I think he quit because he said, I don't want to be part of the like responsibility, I guess, uh, for having these kids like have the idea that this is good.
Yeah. And sometimes, teacher, it happens with the girls and with the teenagers. If you ask it, or if you see the cases in the schools, they say, I want to marry with a narco.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, and I don't know how to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's true. The because of the I don't. It's just that I don't remember the name of these shows that there was a TV show. Well, yeah, I think it's a TV show. It is related to like Narcos,
Oof.
but there was this actor. I don't remember the name. Rafael something.
The Rose.
Yeah, I think it was El Señor de los Cielos. Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
That they. I mean, the same thing. Little kids. The thing is that, for example, like Angela said, the parents are the ones who let them watch these TV shows, and then this if they are little kids, they they have the idea that it's cool, that it's
And
okay, that nobody's going to do anything to them because they have the power.
Exactly.
And like Annie is saying, like now girls, instead of finding like the typical Disney movies, that they I want my prince or whatever.
Yeah, they
Now
want to,
they want a
the,
narco.
yeah.
yeah, both are bad in some
Yeah.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
of course. But yeah, I think over in general, we should definitely check what is the content that the media is showing us and the kids as well. Because I mean, even a cartoon can be bad.
Yeah, for what Roca said about, oh, I don't know who said about the princess.
Mm-hmm.
I think Disney did a good movie when it came the Princess and the Frog,
Uh-huh.
because it shows to the girls that we need to work hard if we want something,
Mm-hmm.
not just sit down and wait for our prince.
To save us.
And the other movie that I like of Disney is Frozen,
Mhm.
because it shows that you don't need a prince to be
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, that's good.
Yes, so that's a good thing that like they are changing that stereotype of uh, well, I don't want to say that you're a woman and you need to have a man or something, because no, but like having that idea of you need to have another person to help you do something. So they are changing that thing, and that's good because it's what is really happening nowadays. So
Yeah.
all right, very good. So with this, we are going to actually move on to the grammar parts, and it would be this part. Like I said at the beginning, we're going to practice relative clauses. Now, from here, from these three different rows, lines. which are the relative clauses in these sentences? What do you think?
Mm, which are
What?
uh, you will say which are the
Yes.
ones?
Which
Okay.
are which are the relative clauses in the sentences that you think? You don't have to like be correct or not, but which ones do you think are the relative clauses? All right, so let's see.
I think it's who.
Uh-huh.
Which?
I don't know which.
Okay.
Two.
Who again?
Where?
Who,
That.
which, who, that. Okay. And in these two, we're gonna check that in a moment. Because in reality, we're going to focus on this. But yes, overall, yes, it's who, that, which, who, that repeats. Why do you think? And I want to focus only in these four sentences. Why do you think we use these relative clauses? Who, that, and which? Why do you think we use them in a sentence?
Um,
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Why do you think we use the relative clauses? Example: who, that, and which in sentences.
um,
Well,
I
it's because you are trying to talk about a person or a thing, but to trying not to be direct, you can use the relative clauses.
Okay, so we're trying to talk about a person or a thing, and we're not too direct. Okay, that's one. Roque, what were you going to mention?
to try to give more information, relevant information about something
Okay, also
with without lose the main objective of the sentence.
okay, so yes, to give relevant information or extra information without, as Roque is mentioning also, losing the idea of the original sentence.
Yes.
Okay. Any other idea that you guys have about this?
Is referred to a person or thing. For example, who is a person, people, or and thing, in which is by a thing.
So yes, these relative clauses, they have a specific uses in terms of people or things. So like you mentioned, who is for people, which can be for things. All right. So we're gonna work on this. Now there are three types. Like I mentioned in here, we have 1, 2, 3. Honestly, we're just going to focus on these two, but it's also good for you guys to see this part. So there are three types. 1, 2, 3. So number one, Javier, can you read this part from number one?
Yes, give relevant information and to make clear about the person or object we talk about, not commas.
Okay. Annie, can you read the yellow box from number two?
Yes. Give extra information that is not essential to understand the sentence. We use commas before and after the clause.
Okay, good. Edre, can you read number three?
Okay. The ones do not include a relative pronoun. We use the verb in, ing, or in past participle.
Okay, so like I mentioned, there are three types of relative clauses. This can be one, this can be two, and this can be number three. they have these relative clauses, they have a specific name. They can be defining, they can be non-defining, or they can be reduced. So based on the descriptions, which ones do you think are the ones that are defining? From 1 to 3, which ones do you think are defining relative clauses, or are describing relative, defining relative clauses?
Then,
I think that
mhm.
number 1, it can be defining.
Yes.
Okay, number 1 defining. Let me just, I'm gonna put the letter D in here. Well, that was my best imitation of the letter D. What about non-defining? Which one, between number 2 and number 3, which one do you think it is referring to non-defining?
The second one,
Then,
Okay,
I guess.
so non-defining. And this would be reduced because that's the only one that we have left. Okay. So we're gonna check. So yes, number 1 is the defining. They are called defining relative clauses. Number 2, they are called non-defining relative clauses. And number 3, they are called reduced relative clauses. Okay. Like I said, we are mainly going to actually focus on this part, on these two. Yeah, in the defining and the non-defining, those are the most common ones that we use. What questions do you have with this before we continue?
I think it's okay.
Okay, what about the rest? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so in here we are just identifying the relative clauses. Like I said, we're mainly going to focus on this. Okay, but at the beginning we're going to practice the 3 a little bit. Oh, let me erase all of this. Okay, so in this case, these ones, these 2, so 1 and 2. Which ones? No, sorry, 3, 4, 5, and 6. From here, which ones are defining relative clauses?
Number 3, number 4.
And number 1.
no.
I think just number 3 and number 4.
Number,
Okay, so let's go back to this part. Check. The one difference. The defining, they don't use commas. And the non-defining, they use commas. Okay? That's like the principal, one of the principal differences. So if we go back to this, what do you think?
Number 1.
Number 1.
Me too.
And the 5, the 5th.
Okay, so number 1. Annie, you mentioned number 2, right?
Yes.
Okay, number 2, and you're saying number. Okay,
5.
so this one. Defining. I'm gonna put defining. 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 Which ones are non-defining?
3 and 4.
number,
3 and 4.
Okay, so non-defining. Non-defining. And remember that we have reduced. Which ones do you think are the reduced?
The 6?
So actually it would be 5 and 6. They reduce. Why?
Oh.
Check in here. Let me just go. I'm gonna. They reduce. They don't include a relative pronoun. So, for example, who, which, and that, they are what we call relative pronouns. We don't use those, but we use a verb in the ing form or in the past participle. So this one is a verb in ing or a verb in the past participle. They are not really that common. That's why what I said, we normally use this the first two rows that we have in here. Okay? Questions with this before we continue?
No.
Okay. What about the rest? Questions?
No.
Mm.
All right. Oh, well, we already checked this. Okay. So like I mentioned, we're basically going to make a difference between defining and non-defining. Now, we have this: which, who, whose, where, when, and that. These are like what I said, the relative pronouns. Okay. Which ones do you think we use for the defining relative pronouns? Okay. Who?
Which?
Which?
Oh, no.
No.
Which? No.
Who? That?
Whose?
That.
Okay. So whose?
That.
That. What else?
Where?
Okay, where? And for the non-defining?
Which?
Which and when?
When?
Okay. All right, so I'm going to show you actually. Actually, we use all of these for the defining and the non-defining, okay? We can use them for both. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the important part. Which one between the defining and the non-defining? Which one uses a comma? Well, commas, actually. The defining or the non-defining?
Not defining.
Non-defining.
Okay, so that would be one of the differences. The thing that non-defining, they use commas, and this one, we don't use commas. Another exception would be this. For non-defining, we don't use that, okay?
Okay.
That's one of the differences. I can use that for this one, but for the non-defining, I don't use them. I don't use that, sorry, okay? Yes?
Yes.
Questions with this?
No.
Okay. So from these relative pronouns, you already told me, but so which one is the one that I use for people?
Who?
For who? For things?
Which?
Which?
For places, what do you think?
Where?
Where?
For the time?
When?
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 And for possession?
That.
That?
But remember,
Oh, yeah.
it's defining, so I don't use that. What do you think I can use for? I'm not sorry, I use that, but what else do I use for
Which?
possession?
Or whose?
Whose? Okay, so here's the thing. For people, I can use which, who, and I can also use that. Okay. Normally I use who, but I can use these three. It's okay to use these three. For things, which and that, like you mentioned. Places where, time when, possession is whose. Okay. Questions with these connections?
Mm, no.
No.
No? Okay. What about the rest? Questions with these connections that I have in here?
No.
Mhm.
Okay. And then for the non-defining, I mean, we know that we have people, things, and all that. So we only use them like who, which, when, where, whose. What is the only difference between non-defining and defining right now?
That.
Okay, that. So we don't use that. And what is another difference between the defining and the non-defining?
We can use which for people.
Okay, for people. What is another difference?
Oh, okay.
When
I
defining, then use commas, and not defining, use commas.
Exactly.
the other thing is that places in non-defining is when and time is where.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, this one is the same thing. Okay, ignore
Okay.
like the position of this. It's the same thing. For when is the time, and for where the places.
Okay.
Now we read it at the beginning, but I want you to tell me between defining and non-defining, which one uses extra information?
Not defining.
Non-defining.
This one. Okay. So normally the extra information is going to be between the commas. That's why we use the commas, because it's not really relevant. Okay. Very good. So before I continue, I need you to tell me what questions do you have with this? No questions?
No,
No.
I think that no.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do. I want you to read these sentences, okay? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and I think that, for example, hold on, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're 6. All right, Annie, you're going to do number 1.
Okay.
Roque, you're going to do number 2. Eder, you're going to
Mhm.
do number 3.
Mhm.
Sandra, you're going to do number 4. Javier, you're going to do number 6. And Angela, you're going to do number 7, okay? This is what I
Yes.
want you to do. You're not going to change anything. You're not going to write anything. You are only going to decide if the sentence that you have is a defining clause or a defining relative clause, a non-defining relative clause, or a reduced clause. Okay? That's the only thing that I want you to decide. Take a moment, read your sentence, and then tell me. And then when you're ready, we're going to check the answers, okay? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let me. Okay. So number one, Annie, what do you think number one is? Defining, non-defining, or reduced?
Defining.
Okay. Yes, it's a defining relative clause. Why do you decide that it's a defining relative clause? What is the principal characteristic that you saw?
Well, it has the exactly information.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have commas.
Good, right? So it has only the necessary information and no commas.
Yes.
Very good. Number two, who was number two?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
The number 2 is non-defining.
Okay.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Hold on. No. It's non-defining. I made a mistake in this one.
Okay.
So it's non-defining.
It's not defining because it gives extra information between two commas
Mm-hmm.
because we really don't need to know if it's based on the book. But well, right now it was a big success.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it has extra information and they are using commas. Good.
Yes.
Number three.
I think it's non-defining.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yes, it's non-defining. So
Information in commas.
exactly. Extra information and we have the commas. Number four.
I think that it's reduced
Mm-hmm. Why?
because I'm not watching any relative clause.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. There are no relative pronouns and we are pretty much using a verb.
Yeah,
Just to
with the
go.
ing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Very good. Javier, what about number five?
I think is reduced because don't include a relative pronoun,
Okay.
but
No, it's correct. It's reduced. This is the one that I made a mistake with. I switched this one for this one, but yes, you're correct. Okay. And Angela, what about the next
Is defining
one? Okay, let's see. Why defining?
because don't use commas and have specific information.
It has a specific information and no commas. And one thing is that we are using that. Another thing, remember that with the defining is the only one that we can use that with. Okay, very good. So you are able to identify the relative clauses. What questions do you have with this so far? Okay.
Mm.
So what we are going to do is we are only going to focus as of now in the defining and non-defining relative clauses. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to use the Zoom chat. Okay. And I want you to type down 2 examples of each of these relative clauses. For example, I can say my father is a person who has worked since he was 14 years old. Okay. Or I can say the table that is in the living room is 12 years old, for example. Okay. And I'm using the defining. And I can also say my friend who is 34 years old is happy he's not married. And Italy, where I went on vacation last year, has a lot of people infected with COVID-19. Okay. So what I want you to do is use the Zoom chat and write 2 and 2. Okay. And I'll be reading your sentences.
Okay.
What? Okay, yes, that's a good example. Okay, you guys are fan of Beauty and the Beast. Good.
Teacher,
Yes.
for animals or pets, we use that or who?
We can use which and we can use that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So you like Ferraris, Sandra?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good at it.
Teacher,
Yes.
I have a question. In the second sentence, my girlfriend is a person who reads books. The verb read, we have to include the s.
Yes, because you're talking about your girlfriend.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, good, Angela. Good. Okay, so it's correct. The only thing, Annie, remember that for the non-defining, when we use commas, we don't use that. So it would be my cat, which is too little, loves to eat all day and likes to climb to the trees.
All right.
So remember that for non-defining specifically, we don't really use that. We can use which in this case. Okay, where I'm studying on MBA. All right.
It's the states more affected or the more affected states?
Is the more affected state.
Okay, right.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Let's see which one was the other one. Okay, good, Javier. And the defining. Okay. Okay, very good. So I think everybody already finished the examples for both, right? Is somebody missing? Okay. Okay. Using this is whom. Okay. All right. So before we continue with these questions that you have, with this specifically these two, the defining and non-defining.
No.
Okay. What about the rest? Questions?
No, teacher.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So this one is simple. If you have your book, you can open your book on page 29. And for now, we are only going to focus on section D of the book. It would be 2.5, and it says complete complete the sentences using the relative clauses or the relative pronouns who, which, and that. Okay, these are the only three that we're going to be using for now. What I want you to do, if you have your book, answer them in your book. If not, you can read the sentences in here and use who, which, or that to complete the sentences. Okay?
I'm finished.
Okay. What about the rest? Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So before we actually check them on the book or in the book software, I want you to tell me and who wants to help me read number 1.
I
Okay.
I read an article recently about the impact that violent movies can have on young children.
All right. So in this case, you put that. Do you guys agree with? I mean, everybody agrees.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Number 2, who wants to help me read number 2?
I
Okay.
I say that kids who are exposed to violence in movies and on TV tend to show higher levels of aggressive behavior once they grow up. Once,
Okay. So you put who, right?
yes.
Everybody agrees?
Yes.
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 And number 3, who wants to help me read number 3?
Me.
Okay.
But I prefer it if my younger brother watches movies like Finding Dory, which is funny and inspiring.
Okay. So in this case, it would be which. And I think everybody agrees because you guys have the same answer and the rest. So we're gonna check here. Okay. Can you see the software of the book?
Yes.
Okay. So just to make sure and to confirm, yes. So the number 1 is that, number 2 is who, and number 3 is which. Okay. Questions that you have with this particular activity?
No.
Okay. So basically, this is only for you guys to identify the relative clauses and if they are defining or non-defining. Now, this is the one that we're going to be working right now, and I think this will be the last activity before we go. So this is what you're going to do. If you see, I have from 1 to number 6. The sentences, are they complete or are they incomplete? What do you think?
Teacher, can you repeat the question?
Yes. Are the sentences complete or incomplete?
Complete.
Incomplete. Right?
Incomplete.
So what you're going to do is you're going to complete the blank spaces with information that is true or that is real for you. Okay. For example, I can say, and I'm gonna focus on number 1 only for now. May 1st is the day in my country when workers have a day off from work. Okay, that can be one example for me. Or sorry, or I can say Felipe is a person I know who lived in the United States. The living room is a room in my house where I like to watch TV and eat. Winter is the time of the year when I wear sweaters, etc., etc., etc. So you basically are going to just complete the information with the sentences, sorry, with your information, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I am going to separate you guys in breakout rooms. So I guess we can have like 5-6 minutes for you to practice this. And then when we come back, we check whatever question you have, right? Yes? Okay, let me just send the picture to the breakout room. Sorry, to the WhatsApp group, and we're gonna have like 5 minutes for this. Okay, tell me when you receive the picture to the in the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
All right, very good. So I'm gonna separate the group in 2 groups. I'm going to put Annie, Sandra. Actually, it's gonna be the 3 girls together and then the 3 boys together. Okay.
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 All right. So I'm
Okay.
gonna 5 minutes. 5-6 minutes for this, and then we'll come back to the main session.
Is in order or
It's what you wanted.
okay? And the number, I say the number 2. My sister, I don't know, is a person I know who likes to spend a lot of money.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. My best friend is a person I know who loves to.
One.
My room is no. My bedroom is the room in my house where can sleep.
Where I can take a nap or something like that. Where house where I can sleep. It's true for us, so for every one of us. Okay, I guess it's a time of the year. It will be summer.
Mhm.
It's a time of year when it's very caliente. I don't know how to say it.
Winter is a time of year when you need to have a girlfriend. Okay, it's a part of my town where
Summer is a time of year when everyone's go to playita,
yeah,
to the
but this year no.
except this one.
Except it.
But not this year.
Penthouse is a part of my town. Town.
What?
Where's town is pueblo.
Can be
Allende. Okay.
Cundiola is a part of my town where can you do exercise? Or can you do? Yes.
Can you do exercise? Where you can do exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an affirmation. You can do exercise. But not this year.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's closed.
It's close.
Learn English is the reason why I'm here. Okay.
But that is true for every of us, so I guess it's correct. Learning English.
Learning English is the reason why I'm here with my partners.
Where
Just need to
I'm here.
My partners doing the exercise.
yeah.
My travel is the reason why I saving, oh, saving money.
Okay. The pandemic is the reason why we are doing home office.
Okay.
I think we finished, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we're coming back. Let's just wait for everybody to come back. All right. So in this case, before we actually finish today's class, I'm gonna ask you to give me one example for this particular exercise. So I'm going to start with, for example, Annie. Give me one example from any of these sentences.
Okay. My father is the reason why I'm studying English and veterinarian.
Okay, very good. Annie, choose someone else to continue with the activity.
Roque.
Okay, Roque?
Okay. My bedroom is the room in my house where I can sleep.
Okay, very good. Choose another person, Roque.
Okay. Sandra.
Okay. Well, my best friend is a person I know who loves to sleep a lot.
Okay, very good, Sandra. Can you choose another person?
Eder.
Okay, teacher Hilda Garza is a person I know who teach English.
Okay, very good. Eder, can you choose another person?
Who miss?
Javier and
Javier.
Ángela.
Javier.
Okay.
Yes.
Learning English is the reason why we are here.
Okay, very good. And well, Ángela, can you give us an example?
Yeah. Puerto Rico is a part of my town where I enjoy talk and walk with my boyfriend.
Okay, very good. So I think everybody already participated. So in this case, with this particular activity and the relative clauses that we're practicing, before we finish, what questions do you have? Is there still something that you want to check, or everything for now it's okay?
For
I
me,
think
for
I
now,
think
it's
that it's
okay.
It's okay.
yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Okay. What, Annie?
It's okay.
All right, very good. So now we'll be okay. I am going to give you some homework, but this one is for you guys to practice, and you have all week, well, before Friday, which is the final exam, to do it. It's pretty much doing sentences using who, which, or that, defining or not defining relative clauses, okay? So I'm gonna put this in Google Classroom so you guys can work on that. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So for now, that's it. Guys, I'll see you on Wednesday. I am going to, what? I am going to put part of the presentation as well in Google Classroom, so you guys can check and check whatever you want to see before the quiz on Friday. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. So thank you for coming. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Okay. See you.
Bye bye. See
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
See you, teacher.
Bye.